Are we live? Are we live? We're live. Bam, bam, bam. What's going on, Giants fans? Haven't done a live stream. Justin, when was the last time we did a live stream? I can't remember.
It's a pain in the ass when we're trying to stream during the draft and then, is it working? I don't know. Can anybody hear us? At least StreamYard's nice and simple. So.
StreamYard for the win. StreamYard for the win. So we're back. We're back. It had been a long time because I had to change my debit card, and I was like, oh, gosh, our StreamYard account has been canceled because I forgot to put the new account info on it. But
there you go.
It's myself, Justin Pennick, as always. And we have a special guest, Mark Zanetto. Am I pronouncing that right? Mark Zanetto.
You are, man. You are.
So, obviously, you're a supporter of us.
Yep.
We have a lot of people that do Patreon. I think let's see, what's the number we're at? We're at 462 total.
You're creeping up to 500.
And Justin got mad at me. He's like, why'd you put $100 tier on there? I was like, well, if, sometimes people want to do that. So Mark Zanetto is the first person of the $100 tier. The perks in that are a free t-shirt, 20 stickers, and then a live stream, and and then all the other regular Patreon perks. I'm hoping you win the shirt raffle that we put out. Actually, we're gonna do it at the end of this chat. We're gonna do the two raffles, so we'll do.
Is it like this one? Is this too early to reveal the?
There you go. You don't see any of just the classic talk. We used to have like a pocket talking Giant shirt. I don't know what happened.
This is my favorite.
I love the blue logo too. The blue logo is an underrated because usually everywhere that you see it's like our white logo, but the blue logo where I actually just ordered I didn't order it. Well, we had made like a tablecloth, so when we do live events, we don't have to rely on just the John Boy Media tablecloth. So I wanted our own one, and we had like the blue logo. So I love that you have that logo. It's cool.
No, I love it. And honestly, guys, like I wanted to support you, for a little while. Was able to kind of justify it. Didn't even have to ask the wife, just, made sure that, kind of put something together for you because honestly, ever since John Boy Media started, like even before Jimmy blew up, I would message him and say, man, what software are you using? That's super cool for the breakdowns. And then when the Giants stuff came on, I'm obviously a huge Giants fan. So I've been a big supporter, from afar from you guys for a while and really appreciate what you do.
Okay, cool. I didn't know you were like you came over from John Boy because we actually don't hear that as much as you would think. It's like, oh, I was a fan of John Boy and Talking Yanks and then found
I saw that Jim followed you, so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
so I figured you were like an early
100%
supporter as I was too. So
I was just really cool that Jim and Jake are from Connecticut. So that's because that's my home state. I think our high schools played baseball against each other, long time ago. I'm obviously older than him, but it's just, I made the connection and this is before he, blew up and he was probably getting less direct messages and I messaged him and he was just like, yeah, man, really cool. Thanks for all the help. And then when he decided to go, 100% and take a chance on himself, I was definitely in his corner, really excited about, what they put together because I'm obviously a huge Yankees fan too. So it's cool. What you guys are doing is awesome. I think the draft coverage is my favorite thing so far. Really appreciated the breakdowns and everything because I think you guys did some stuff with New York Revival. I was telling some of those guys, like during the pre-draft, I was doing so many mock drafts, like literally every day. I have multiple screens for working at home and I'd be in meetings and I'd be like doing stuff and someone would ask me a question. I'd be like, what? I'm sorry. I'm in round 3. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. So yeah, it's just I'm excited. I'm happy it's over, but I'm looking forward to the season.
Well, for some good news, we're having our way too early draft week next week that we do every year at the end of June. So
awesome.
I watched a little of Anthony Richardson, the Florida QB who didn't play much. It's kind of exciting. So we'll get into that. So ask us some Giants questions because we're just going to treat this like a regular live stream where you guys ask us questions. It's just like we'll have a third co-host and then Mark, you can, if you have like questions for us, obviously those go in there. And another history moment. This is our first ever live stream on Twitch. So I just put the link in the channel. So we got a couple of people commenting on it. I got Shed45, Josh.
Talking Giants.
Someone said, why Twitch though? Why not, Joshua? So
why not? If it gives us the option. Are you going to let me talk about my for the defensive guys? Are you going to let me talk about Justin Flo was actually a linebacker who we should talk about because he may declare and he's also popular on social media. Are you going to let me talk about my 2 St. Peter's Prep brothers?
Are they first or second round projected?
Adamiola is an interior defensive lineman from Notre Dame. I don't think they are.
Maybe one.
Adamula, maybe
one. Mr. Brownstone, gang, congrats on. He just had his a daughter yesterday, so congrats to Mr. Brownstone. So we'll get into some questions. Before we get some questions in here, I want to kind of brainstorm our episode tomorrow. And I was thinking, Justin, we could do our areas for improvement episode that we do in the summer every single year. And I actually went back and listened to ours from last year, and one of mine is very similar. It's getting the running backs more involved in the receiving game, and that seems like something that Brian Dable is going to do. And I broke down like ad nauseum how like the numbers of how bad the Giants were at involving the running backs in the receiving game. Remember, something we pulled out was in 2020, Saquon Barkley played one game, and that was like the best receiving game for running back yards by far, like for the entire year, and he was like 50 yards off of the team leader in receiving yards for running backs, and that was a team that signed Dion Lewis to be a receiving back even with Saquon Barkley on the team. So that's some stuff. Mark, what is like a specific area that you're like, man, this is just something they need to improve on, and not necessarily like, oh, the offensive line has to block better.
Right. I want to see pressure, man. I loved the 2008, 2011 squads. They didn't always have the best secondary. I mean, we had R.W. McQuarters, intercepting passes in 2008. Had probably the biggest one of the season against the Cowboys in the NFC divisional game.
Yeah.
But the reason why is because they got pressure. So, I mean, it's a great thing that we got Kayvon, with Aziz hopefully having a second year, big jump there. I really, I like this. I like the safeties. I like Xavier McKinney. I think Julian Love is an underrated guy. So I'm just curious because of Wink Martindale's system, it's going to be more like, the defense coordinator is mistaken me. He's from Kansas City. I forget our former defensive coordinator.
Spags.
No, sorry. So like, to me, that's my generation. I'm a 40-year-old guy. So I grew up with that. I was introduced with LT, Carl Banks, those guys. And then with that other group, when Eli was the quarterback and that defense with, the NASCAR package and stuff like that. Like, I'm looking forward to getting back to that. Perry Fuel was a great, Tampa 2 guy, bend but don't break defense with Antrell Roll and those guys. But I just, I don't know. That just didn't listen, I'm happy we won a title, but I want to see more smash mouth football. I want to see them attack quarterbacks, blitz packages, more man coverage, things like that. I mean, I'd rather get, I've said this a million times over the last 4 years. I'd rather them give up an 80-yard bomb than literally sit through 20-yard passes, 10-yard passes, 5-yard passes, like die by 1,000 cuts. So
even if it results in field goals versus touchdowns, like the last 2 years with Graham.
Yeah, I mean, I just it's one of those things where because you don't when I'll give you a little bit of my background. I played 1 year of Division I college football at Sacred Heart University in Connecticut. I am just not the type of person that would feel comfortable even as a safety playing back. Like, I want to attack. I want to hit the hole. I want to like make plays. And if we get burnt, then that's just you take your chances. It's like you're playing blackjack. You always hit on 11. You always kind of put pressure on the defense. And as fans, we just have to live with it. I'd much rather have that style of defense personally.
No, I would rather have that style. Sorry. I would rather have that style. It's just my worry is like, do we have the personnel for that style?
It's totally fair.
And I agree with you. Like last year when they were, because people think, oh, Patrick Graham was bend, don't break both years. Technically, yes, but his defense changed a lot from year 1 to year 2. They changed.
He didn't want to be last year. He did not want to be bend but don't break last year.
Well, at the start, and then they changed a lot to, the Brandon Staley's, Vic Fangio's are doing was like, the 2 high safeties, a light box. But they just weren't able to. Once Blake Martinez was out of there, they weren't able to stop the run. They weren't like they just were giving up. Like they were one of the worst in the league of like average yards before like contact at the defensive level, not like broken tackles and stuff, but just that first contact. Like they were giving uncontested 3-4 yard runs and were getting gashed like that. So, but you have to have the personnel to do that as well too. You got to have a good Mike linebacker. You got to have one real deal pass rusher that you're going to rush for, and he's going to get there and he's going to wreak havoc and put teams in, take them out of 2nd and 4 and put them in 3rd and 12, those type of situations. So, but Wink Martindale, I think the more I talked, like we had Ken McCusick who, film study Ravens on the pod, and Wink Martindale did adjust. Like he still was the same guy, but he did adjust a little bit on the fly last year, and I'd be interested to see what their blitz rate was. And just like before Humphrey and Peters went down, and then just separate it, not just when you look at their total season, they were like 7th or 8th, but I would like to be like, where do they rank in the league after that? So Wink's I think he adjusts more, but at the same time, he has that philosophy and he's going to stick to it. And I'm excited / like petrified of how that will look, because it could be, hey, like, yeah, there's some bad plays, but we're getting, turnovers and we're getting sacks, or it could be, you're giving up 28, 29 points a game and it's just horrible.
But Mark, that's the first thing I thought of, outside of my 2 favorite words in football, which is explosive plays. An area for improvement for the Giants is just getting more pressure on the quarterback. Now, Justin, you're a big stop the pass guy, but I mean, it was just so bad last year. I mean, what I even want to do more than just looking at QB hits and pressures, because obviously I think the Giants were either 30th, 31st, 32nd in QB hits last year. But what's even worse to me is just the time to throw. Like I'm going to go week by week in next gen stats. And I'm going to see if I can get an average of time to throw, and I'll throw it on a spreadsheet. Just how long these quarterbacks had to just sit back there. Just no pressure, no QB hits, forget kind of the sack stuff for a second. And that's what Wink Martindale is hopefully going to bring. And there's I have something that I've been working on, and I'm trying to figure out how I can actually put it in a graphic that makes sense for people to actually look at. But there's a graphic that, we're in the process of making that details in 2020 and 2021, most quarterbacks have gotten rid of the ball faster than their average time to throw from that season. So it is a concerted effort that teams make when they face the Ravens, that they have to get rid of the ball quicker, even though the offensive lines, even though they're ranked pretty high. So hopefully that element is so, maybe even if they're not top in sacks, tops in pressures, top in QB hits, we'll hopefully look back at this year saying quarterbacks are getting rid of the ball faster, which means they're not throwing it as deep, which means they're not getting a lot of explosive plays.
No, I'm with you guys. I mean, if I'm just looking at this roster from, I mentioned the 2008 team, right? I mean, when you think about even some of the ages of the guys, like R.W. McQuarters was 32, Sam Madison was 34. You mentioned personnel, Bobby, and I'm with you, man. We had a Terrell Thomas who was 23 and, exciting, Kenny Phillips, these guys who are kind of up and coming. I think what I'm hoping for is the guys on the team, a kid like Aaron Robinson, the guys who are, Julian Love, that I think are sneaky talents that haven't been used properly, are going to thrive in this system. And I think that's what I'm hoping for, because I feel like the pressure is going to be there now. It maybe won't be consistent because we got young guys on the line. But I just feel like with, and another guy who I love is Darian Beavers. I got turned on to Cincinnati football because one of my buddies is the basketball coach at Cincinnati, Wes Miller. And we're really good friends. I'm a basketball guy at heart, not tall enough to play. I'm a little 5'11" guy, but I played safety, so I'm thick. So I'm just not a 6'5", 6'7" guy. So, him and I are like kindred spirits, workers, hustlers, and that Cincinnati football team, just because of, being kind of associated with Wes, like watching that all last year, really kind of Darian Beavers lit up the screen. Obviously, Sauce Gardner, wish him the best with the Jets. Those guys, they had
a lot of guys. Kobe Bryant, J. Sanders.
I would have loved Kobe Bryant on the Giants. Oh.
Yeah. He seemed like he's like, he didn't have like the athletic profile you look for an NFL corner, but he was a good corner. Even on their offense.
Yeah. I mean, he led them in interceptions because Sauce shut down that side. So, I mean, he was a ball hawk.
I think he won like the cornerback of the year award. Whatever, like the same award DeAndre Baker won. Not to get us off topic, but we have another SSU D1 athlete, go Pios.
Oh, okay. Pioneers.
So we'll get into some of the questions people have. But yeah, like you were mentioning Aaron Robinson and Julian Love. Aaron Robinson is a wild card in that he's entering his second year. We didn't see enough playing time, But Julian Love is like the wild card where it's like we kind of know he can play a little bit of football. He's not going to wow you, but now he's going to have really he hasn't had this big of a role since his rookie year when Jabril Peppers went down. That was the last time Julian Love, that was the biggest role he ever had. Because even when he did play 80%, 90% of the snaps in Patrick Graham's defense, it was, he wasn't the focal point of it. A lot of, playing deep safety and, playing, a quarter of the field or, the middle of the field or playing down.
Being thrown in at corner when somebody's hurt. And, he's been asked to do a lot of different things and hasn't really been able to settle down into any kind of role outside of the few weeks that he had in his rookie year, like you said, Bobby. So I'm excited to see, when he's all right, you're going to train for one spot, or we're going to ask you to train for these multiple different spots, whether it's a safety that's kind of lining up in the slot sometimes, deep, whatever. We're going to ask you to train this one spot instead of being ready to roll at three or four different ones. So,
yeah. No, that's a great point. It'll be interesting to see what he's like when you give him, just, hey, you're a safety now.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out.
This is your
job. Yep.
Which there was a little bit of excitement there after his rookie year. He played that box role pretty well. And even his first time getting real playing time at center field, they finally benched Antoine Bethea. He had an interception versus Chicago, which again, it was a bad Trubisky throw, but he made a decent play on it. He played fine in that game.
Speaking of safeties, what do you guys think of Yusuf Corker, the free agent from Kentucky? Do you think he's got a really good shot to make this team, or what's the deal?
I think he's got a really good shot to make the team because the safety spot is so thin. Obviously you have McKinney, Julian Love, and Dane Benton. Those guys are locked. So there's that fourth spot. I think Henry Black might have the edge just because he's played pro football, and the Packers did. A good Packers team used him a chunk of snaps in essentially every single game. Besides 2 games, he was playing 15-20% of the snaps, sometimes more. Corker's fun, but he does have to become better as an all-around football player because he's very much go full speed, fill the alley, but a lot of times he'll be out of place, he'll miss tackles, but he has big hits and he's aggressive. So I always say I'd rather work with a guy like that who's aggressive and needs to be refined than the guy who's passive and is afraid to pull the trigger to come downhill or break to the sideline.
Do you know who he reminds me of? The missile Nate Burhay. Remember him?
Nate, yes.
Very similar styles.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to at the time. I always say safeties are maybe the most misevaluated position by people because you don't see them on TV, so they're either screwing up or messing up. So
that's true.
I don't have the greatest scouting report on Nate because I wasn't watching as intently then. But I do remember him making a play here and there and then screwing up here and there. But yeah, Yusuf Corker, I would like him to be the 4th safety. Obviously they gave him the most guaranteed money out of any of the UDFA, so very least he will be on the Giants practice squad. He's not going to get stolen up unless he has a ball of preseason. They try and sting all the fact. He's not going to get stolen by someone if they do cut him at 53, the 50 when they cut down the 53. So he'll at least be with the Giants organization for this year.
Good deal.
Big Blue in the Bronx said my favorite UDFA is Jeremiah Hall that I've looked at so far. Y'all think he makes the roster? Yeah, I think he's got the best chance to make the roster. And I was reading Zach Rosenblatt's 53-man, 90-man roster outlook, and he had him as one of the long shots. And it was really the only thing I disagreed with him on is because, Brian Dable doesn't use a traditional fullback, but Jeremiah Hall's not a traditional fullback. I think he's a lock to make the roster simply because he plays that H-back position between tight end, fullback. He can run some routes. You can put the ball in his hand, and he's not foreign to that. So I like Jeremiah Hall. I think he has to get better as a blocker though, which is the main role he needs to get better at as the H-back. But Elijah Penny, he got better as the years went along. So yeah, I think Jeremiah Hall is probably a lock to make the roster to me.
I don't think Dan Duggan I think the only UDFA that Dan Duggan included on his prediction, I think he posted this today, was Corbin, the running back. And that was it. Didn't include Corker, didn't include Jeremiah Hall, which really? I found that to be pretty surprising too, because I mean, Jeremiah Hall is the only fullback that's listed on the Giants website. And unless they plan on making one of these tight ends like an H-back, which at this point, I don't think anybody's talked about, or I don't think that's going to happen unless they have that plan. I do hope that they carry a fullback on the roster, because remember the Ben McAdoo days where he was head coach? We would get down on the goal line. We didn't have a fullback on the roster, and then we're trying to put the ball in the end zone for the 1 yard line, and they don't have a lead blocker. I mean, that sucks. Like, I think they should carry a fullback.
Yeah, a lot of people have said like, "Oh, the fullback position is dying." It's really not. It was starting to die, and then kind of came back. It's really, there's no reason to not carry a fullback on the roster, even if you don't use it a lot on offense, because that guy's always going to be a key special teamer. Like, he's going to be a big part of your special teams. You're not going to have a Mike Allstott of the world anymore where they don't cover kicks or anything. But it's like, he's a key special teamer, and like you said, like it's good to have in those situations. Or there's sometimes you want to run power O and you want to use the fullback as the kick out or something like that.
I mean, and you can make an argument right now that Jeremiah Hall is more of a weapon in the pass game as like this pseudo tight end than he is as a blocker. So I mean, if you have that versatility with him back there anyway. So I hope he makes it.
Yeah. All right. Joshua KT89. How does Dane Benton fit in Wink's system? So you're a safety. What do you think about Dane Benton, Mark?
I like him. I like how he can. I think he's versatile, right? I think he's. I don't know if did he play strong in college, or was he more of a free safety?
He played a little bit, but he honestly played the most at nickel. So for me, I don't think he's going to be covering slot wide receivers, because when he faced a guy like Wandale Robinson, he got worked. But I do think he's got the ability to stick in the hip of a tight end and play with those guys.
Yeah, I think Wink's going to use him. I don't think he's as good as a Kyle Hamilton, but I just think more of that because of the athleticism. But I think he's a similar type player, and I think that's what he's going to be trying to do. I think he's going to try to put him in the box. I think he's going to kind of maybe play a little over the top sometimes. I'm curious to kind of think of like Wink's system in terms of how much press or, with the man coverage, like, I think that will dictate what Dane does. And I think that'll dictate how he kind of is developed. And do you think, my question to you guys though, is like, do you think he will be more of, do you think Julian Love is going to take a lot of kind of his reps away, or do you think they're going to play together? Like, how do you think that's going to work?
I don't know, because Wink likes to run three safety. I mean, he likes to run, multiple outside linebackers, multiple safeties. So I don't know if they're going to throw Dane. There's been reports of practice of them practicing on Dane Benton practicing on the field with those guys. So I do think he's going to get reps day one. Now, is it 8 reps, or is it 22 reps in week 1 or week 2 or week 3? So I think Julian Love probably is kind of like the move high, low, move him around a little more. McKinney's going to play, that true free safety. And I think Belton's the kind of the one you have split out towards the line of scrimmage more so. Like, I don't feel comfortable with Belton playing high. They didn't ask him to do it at Iowa, but when he did, he didn't look great at it. And he wasn't as aggressive as you'd like him to be in the box. So I'm not like thrilled with Dane Benton, but there is some talent. Yeah. I think his best talent is to be able to, play fundamental man coverage against tight ends. So it's like he did well. He did well against slot wide receivers, not named Wandale Robinson in college. So it's like, okay, how do you go against tight ends now that you're going to be able to stick with these guys a lot easier than slot wide receivers, but they also have the size advantage over you now too. So that's my big question: is how does he handle like the size differential with tight ends in the NFL?
Well, he's got guys in his team that he can work with, work against now with Bellinger, and even a guy like Jordan Akins, who's a really big body tight end. So kind of getting some of those live reps. We'll see how things go in camp.
Someone said, "What up, crackhead? What up?"
Hello. Love the sleeping dog. That was a very cute dog.
Yeah.
Well, it was high on crack.
Oh,
tough. There was a Slayton question I wanted to get in here. Where was
Darius Slayton.
Where was it? Because I want to talk.
Nervous 6 weeks waiting for camp to start. If you're Darius Slayton,
so Bobby, you think he's going to get traded, don't you?
I don't know. I just feel like there's got to. That's what I want to ask you from the outside looking in. not being like obviously you're hyper focused on the Giants, but let me just find somebody that says Slayton so I can put it on the screen.
Future Colt Darius Slayton or somebody who said that.
It's like, are we reading into it too much that he's practicing behind David Sills, Travis Toivonen, and Richie James?
Yeah, I think you might be, but I also like, I don't know, man. Like you never know, like the inner workings of the team, right? So I think that could be a false flag, but I don't know what to think about Darius Slayton. I want him to do well. I mean, listen, I think we all want these guys to perform at a high level, but at the end of the day, I mean, I look back at last year, which was a shit season again, and I mean, the one that sticks in my brain is the touchdown that he dropped against the what are they now, the Commanders. So I guess he was good in the first year because he had 8 touchdowns, but I don't know, man. You can't cash checks in your 4th year from year one. So it just hasn't been consistent. I don't know what to think. If we can get something for him, I think I saw you had like late round picks. Like I think it was like you getting like 5th, 6th, 7th round trades for him. I mean, I'm cool with that. I mean, if we got some capital for him, fine. I just don't know if there's room for him. What do you guys think?
Well, did everything freeze up for you guys for like 5 seconds?
No, you're good. We're going. Part of me thought, and I thought this on the show in the moment. And I'm like, you know what? This kind of makes sense to me. Is Dable? They have made a conscious effort to play some of the younger guys this spring. So Darius Slayton already has a couple of years of reps with Daniel Jones. Let these younger guys, prove what they got. Let them get reps with it, but it still doesn't make sense. Oh, let these guys get reps with Daniel Jones when they're ideally never going to be getting reps with Daniel Jones. Right. So that's where it's like, it's the push and shove. But that's the thing that makes the most sense to me is, hey, Darius Slayton, he has the connection with Jones. Dable, they've been making the conscious effort to play some of these guys and some of these outside guys looking in, giving them a shot. That's the thing that makes sense to me because it is a risk to trade him. It is a risk to trade him. It's a risk to have Darius Slayton not on this team this year because of the wide receivers that are present in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, they're all injured maybe not injured, but not participating in the OTA. So there's concern about injury, and that's like that whole injury conversation. Like how much do you take it serious? It's like, well, the Giants are taking it somewhat serious because, a guy like Galladay is not even really injured and they're not practicing him. So I like if they're trading for a 6th round, am I like throwing a fit over it? But I'm like, I just feel like Darius Slayton, even for 1 year or a comp pick he gets, gonna bring more value to that. And I don't know if the Giants will be spenders next year, but maybe he offsets something with his contract if he leaves somewhere else. And I think we have to remember with every single player on the offense, and especially guys who we have an example of being in a different situation, is how much the offensive system held everybody back. Yeah. Like Slayton is to blame for a lot of his issues, but again, the offensive system did not help him. And it did not help anybody. It didn't help a single player on this team. Did it help? Besides, Nate Solder, because he, it's like, okay, let's change the offense because he's trash. That's the only person they placated the offense for was Nate freaking Solder. So I just feel like there's more. And again, we talk about, the last 2 years have been disappointing. Okay, but Darius Slayton also did have 800 yards year 2. And that was with facing number 1 cornerbacks every week in and week out. So, that down year was down because the expectations were too high for him. If he didn't play his first year and then his second year, Darius Slayton had that exact same year 2, we'd be excited, after that year 2. And then last year was a disaster, and a lot of it was his fault as well. There's times where they needed him and he had 0 catches, 0 yards. And didn't show up when they needed him. So I don't want to make excuses for him either. But again, he's not a guy I don't think you just want to throw him away, especially with the guys who are in front of. If Kenny Galladay, Kadarius Toney, and Sterling Shepard, we weren't worried about any of their health, yeah, move on. You just drafted Wandale. He might be the 5th guy on the team. But those, history tells us that those guys aren't going to stay healthy for the whole year.
No, I'm with you. A part of me wants to just keep everyone and kind of see what Dable does, right? And just see what this offense looks like, because you could have a guy that you'd be like, well, shit, now we've all literally just kind of essentially all of the things we've talked about with Jason Garrett and like that offense and how it was terrible and that regime, you know, and kind of it'll be solidified if this is the situation. So, you know, we'll see. I think you got to give him a chance. I'm with that. I'm cool either way. I trust whatever they're doing right now.
Yeah, if they move on from him, like the argument for it is that he's on the last year of his deal, and they essentially have 4 wide receivers they're more invested in front of him.
Right.
You know, so it's hard to throw a fit. Now, where I will throw a fit and is if they just cut him for no reason. Like I don't think it's worth cutting him to save, you know, $2 million or whatever it will be when you factor in the top 51 rule. Because it's like he has 2.4, like his move would save 2.4 million cap space, but then when you factor in the top 51 rule, it's like 1.6 mil. So that's not worth it for me if some of those guys go down the way they have in past, where we have David Sills and Travis Toivin and practice, you know, playing ahead of him. That's where it's not worth it to me. And miss me with Richie James, you know, special teams prowess. So. All right. Here's actually a fun one that's you know, we don't have to get too crazy analyst wise. Most likely Pro Bowler, Thomas, or I'm going to change it to Thomas or McKinney. Who's more likely to make the Pro Bowl this year, Andrew Thomas or Xavier McKinney? So here's something. I was listening to the Athletic Football Show, and I was actually listening to one of their older episodes because I had nothing to listen to today while I was outside. And it was before the draft, and they're talking about the Giants, and they're like, there's no bigger dichotomy, stealing a Justin word, of NFL team change from what their offensive scheme was to what Brian Dable and Mike Kafka are bringing in. So, and like they're like this, you look at this roster, and they're in a bad situation, but it's like you look at this roster, and they have some real players on this team. So it's like they could be like that 2017 Bills team that snuck in the playoffs. So if they're like that, if they're a team that is like that, Andrew Thomas is the answer for me. But if they're a team that goes 6-11, Xavier McKinney would be the answer, because you can look at interceptions, you can look at highlight plays, but tackles are very much a product of, is your team winning?
Yeah.
Yes. But if the team is, if the Giants are winning, Giants fans they will force Andrew Thomas into the Pro Bowl. Like, it's a guarantee. We went 6-10 in 2020, and Logan Ryan was leading, the NFL and like safety Pro Bowl votes. So if they are like a fun team that surprises people and might not be super good, but sneaks into the playoffs, yeah, Giants fans will get Andrew Thomas into the Pro Bowl, and I will make sure of it.
No, I think that's fair. I think only reason why I lean McKinney is because he's the sexier pick, right? We all know Andrew Thomas is definitely the guy, and he's going to be our left tackle, barring something unforeseen for the next 10 years, So I think McKinney, showed he probably should have been a Pro Bowl last year. I mean, I think he but that's the thing, is that team was, you hit the nail on the head, Bobby. Like, I just want this team to be fun. I'm all about, listen, I want to win rings too, but listen, one step at a time. Bring me something fun. Bring me something, that's fascinating. Something that, I mean, the shit that we watched the last 4 years. My son is 5 years old. If I ask him who his favorite team is, he says the Panthers. Not because we live here, because he sees dad yelling at the fucking TV every Sunday. And he's like, why would I want to do that? He's a smart kid. Why would I want to follow this asshole?
Well, you need to start watching some Panthers games and showing them how bad they are.
I know, but his grandmother, I mean, he's got outside influences. Don't even get me started on my wife, who's a Cowboys fan. Oh my God, bro. That's the thing. I need something cool so he doesn't turn to the dark side. Okay. He still, I mean, I get him gear. He still rocks the Giants logo, all that stuff. He likes blue, so we're good there. Big Sonic the Hedgehog fan. So the blue is there.
All right, good.
So we're fine, but we're on the precipice. And I've had conversations with guys who have kids who are like, we need to be good or my kids are going to get turned off. So
what's his name? We're going to shout him out on the next show, and you got to play for him. Be like, dude, you're famous. You got to like the Giants now.
Oh, dude. He's got a famous name too for one of my favorite tight ends, Bear Pasco.
There we go. Okay. So Bear's getting a shout out on the next show, because we got to get him back on our side.
He'll love that, dude.
And fully
he'll be pumped.
Let's see, what do we got?
Trying to see if the Giants ever tweeted anything about Sonic.
Abe Froman, who has the best chance to be cornerback. I think the answer for everyone right now is Aaron Robinson, and the Giants kind of answered that question in their mini camps that like Aaron Robinson's probably going to be that guy. And again, my biggest fear isn't like having Adoree Jackson and Aaron Robinson as the outside corners. My biggest fear is if one of those guys goes down, and more so Adoree. It's like now we're in a huge issue because now you got Aaron Robinson covering wide receiver 1, or Maurice Kennedy covering wide receiver 2, or however it
jump into outside.
It falls. So here's a good question by Metropolitan Giants wearing knickerbockers. Do you see the O-line being tinkered with throughout the season, or will it be guys solidified starting spots? So 3 out of 5 are guaranteed solidified with Neal, Glowinski, and Thomas. Center, I kind of feel like center is a little bit solidified because who's going to challenge Feliciano? Max Garcia, Ben Bredesen?
No, Max Garcia probably isn't going to make the team.
And then so left guard would really be the only spot where it could be. Is where like they start with Shane Lemieux and they move to Josh Azudu.
Who is the backup center?
It's Max Garcia and Ben Bredesen. They've had them working at center. So it's basically like that will be our camp position battle podcast in a month. We'll have center 2, Max Garcia, Ben Bredesen.
Oh joy. That position's going last.
Let's go through it real quick. We got left guard is a position battle. Let's just say tight end. Those are the fun ones.
What is the outlook with McKeithen? Like,
he's nothing for this year. It's
but he has to be on the team. So like, but what is?
Not necessarily. You don't have to keep every draft pick on the. You could slide him to the practice squad. I don't know if McKeithen's. Look at all the guys who got claimed. You would think like, you'd be afraid of guys getting stolen, but you look at the guys who get claimed every year, and it's not a lot, especially when you think about rookies.
Yeah.
So edge 3 would be a position battle. Inside linebacker 2 is a fun one. So you mentioned Darren Beavers. Do you like him more than Micah McFadden?
It's a toss-up. I watching a lot of that like Big Ten, Midwest football. I watched quite a bit of it. I like them both. And then you do a deep dive on McFadden. I think I don't really have a comp for him, but I like you mentioned this. I think I tweeted at you, Bobby, a while back about like Darren Beavers' athleticism. I think they're similar in respect. I think Beavers is a bigger kid. But I don't know, man. It's hard to say. Because, these are 4th, 5th round, 5th, 6th round picks. And it's just like, you can really, strike gold with these guys, or they are, perpetual backups. So it's just, I don't know. I trust these guys, but I don't know the evaluators and like the things that they've done to kind of what type of football players these guys are, or what they're going to turn into at the next level.
Inside linebacker.
Is this old school kind of linebacker?
He reminds me of Teddy Bruschi a little bit.
Yeah, I learned. I kind of officially learned what winning in a phone booth, what that phrase means, just watching him play. Or it wasn't even like I didn't even look it up and have it explained to me. I just watched it and I'm like, yeah, I get it now. Because every interior linebacker, I feel like you watch, or at least this was at least with me. Every interior linebacker I watched during this pre-draft process. This is a psychopath that can fly sideline to sideline. This is a psychopath that can fly sideline to sideline. Micah McFadden is one of those guys that I don't want to say he could fly sideline to sideline, but the dude can fly, and he just plays wild. Darian Beavers, he plays wild, but it's like an old school wild where it's like inside the tackles. You're not going to see him chase down a wide receiver that gets a sweep on the outside and make a play at the line of scrimmage. I mean, he wins in the phone booth. He plays in that phone booth inside the tackles, where I feel like Micah McFadden has that potential to, hey, if there's a play that needs to be made outside the tackles, he can do it. They both can get after the quarterback, though. It's just so different, where Beavers is going to rely on that strength, and McFadden is just going to rely on, again, just like playing like a psychopath, being fast and explosive. So they are different in that regard. So that's why it's tough to like evaluate both of them together, because I do feel like, they're similar where they're athletic, but they're also very different in the style at which they play. So,
and the Giants clearly like McFadden more because they drafted him, a good chunk before him in the draft. But I've also, the longer we've been doing this draft stuff, it's one thing I've learned is, there's a lot of fun linebackers, but fun linebacker doesn't always translate into good linebacker. And,
right.
it really is like those guys who are big, strong, and can take on blocks who have the most success at the next level, and then it's those guys who also are fun, who are the great linebackers in the NFL. And linebacker is a spot where you do find late round talent. And every year I say this in our Camp Battles podcast is inside linebacker 4 is going to play defensive reps this year. Every single year. Think about it. Every single year for the last 4 or 5 years. Tay Crowder was inside linebacker 4. He was starting a year ago. We had Carter. Jalen Smith was playing linebacker at the end of the year for the Giants. Reggie Ragland got real reps. Tay Crowder got, they all got real reps. The
Tay
year
Davis
before,
at one point.
Yeah, Tay Davis, Ryan Connolly, guys have it's every year. Inside linebacker depth gets tested. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys, because one of them's there's going to be a week this year where either Micah McFadden or Darian Beavers is going to be playing 70% of the reps in the game.
Yeah, and I think if you do go and look at like their combine numbers, kind of like some of that stuff, you see it on paper. McFadden is technically the quicker guy, but I mean, when you look at the numbers, I mean, Darian Beavers like ran the 40 at Cincinnati's pro day. He didn't run at the combine in just under 4.5. So he's a good straight line runner. Like, I think to Bobby's point, he doesn't have that quick twitch muscle, like where he's going to like be able to kind of like turn on a dime, but coming downhill, he's faster. I think the 3-cone is kind of where you see very similarities. I think they're both at 6.8. So they're both fast. They're like faster guys. But the thing that gets me is Beaver's vertical is about 7 inches higher than McFadden. So maybe in coverage against a tight end, that kind of is going to make a big difference if he's facing a guy that's 6'6", 6'7", because he's 6'4", 250, whereas McFadden's 6'1", 230, So I don't know. Like, I think it's kind of like splitting hairs. It's just going to be about, listen, this, Bobby, like, and Justin, this just as much. Like, whoever plays faster and smarter and reacts quicker and grasp the offense is going to make more plays. I don't give a shit how fast you are. It's really about anticipation and learning the defense.
And that's why I'm excited for McFadden to see how well does he pull the trigger coming to the NFL. Does it slow him down? Like, we talked about a guy like Ryan Connolly, who the Giants unjustly cut a couple years ago. Like, he from day one was like, no, I'm still aggressive. There's going to be a couple times where I'm out of place, but I'm going to make plays. So I'm excited to see if McFadden keeps that role. Crane Toe says, yo, Justin, let me keep your socks next time I see
Sure.
Perfect.
You got to make them pay for
gross.
it. You got to make them pay for it.
Are you starting an OnlyFans for socks? That's gross.
I may.
Well,
I'm considering it.
We just started using our TikTok again. We just started. This is our first time being on Twitch. So maybe that's something we do.
Should I dance on TikTok?
No, we should just.
No.
We'll just put we'll just do social media and see if there's anyone.
I'm hot now. I lost weight, so
you know what? If you want to see our OnlyFans, it's patreon.com/talkinggiants.
There you go.
We send nudes every week.
Well, that's kind of like our explicit content is the Talking Giants Patreon Twitter account, where it's like, if there's some dude who's like, maybe I don't want to shit on this guy publicly. It's just like, I hate, this guy from PFF.
Well, no, it's technically Bobby's burner account. That's really what the Patreon Twitter account is.
It's the Bobby hates this guy account. I'll even look at some. I'll look at some. You guys talk while I find some. I'll just find one example.
Find an example. Whoa, you guys are on Twitch now. Yeah, we are.
I feel like such a young man being on a Twitch show with you guys. I don't even know what to do with myself.
Well, here's what we can do. We could talk about I wanted an excuse
here's
to bring
an example.
this picture up. Well, I wanted to talk about this guy.
Oh God.
Well, okay, talk. Well, I just like so. Carton and Roberts is killing Michael K in the ratings.
Sure.
And so I quote tweeted, and like Spike Eskin, who is the WFAN program director, who I don't want to shit on publicly, I'm like, is a moron, but adding Tiki and Tierney was a smart move. Like, so just like nothing crazy, just like I'm not going to shit on Spike Eskin publicly. It's bad business. But the Patreon account, you get some of that.
Yeah.
Or it's me telling some representative from the Daytona 500 to please fuck off. Stuff like that.
What did I tell you on your birthday? Drink a lot and start a fight. I mean, dude, we're aligned. It's fine.
Solid advice. You know, I used to take that advice to heart a lot when I was 22, and not so much at 30.
I got you.
Unless I see Dallas Goedert in North Dakota or South Dakota. Sorry.
Well, it was North Dakota.
So it was in South Dakota.
Shit.
So we're at 45 minutes. So I'm going to work on the Patreon T-shirt raffle. You guys can answer questions, and I will update.
What do you think about this picture, Justin? What does Daniel Jones look like to you here?
Well, really, I just wanted to showcase the duality of man here. That's really
the dichotomy.
As some might say, dichotomy, and really the Giants, account. They put out like serious pictures of players, and most of them look cool, and then some of them look like this, and really it's just Daniel Jones that looks like this. So they put out the serious one today. No, they put out the smiling one today, and then the serious one was the other day. So I just like doing close-ups on his face to just show how much of a goober he is. How can you not root for him? But I understand why people don't believe in him. So what are your thoughts?
Oh man, that's a great transition. That's what you call in the business.
Yeah.
And a tease almost.
Good radio.
No, I really do feel like I want to like Daniel Jones. You know what I mean? Like I really do. And I don't listen. If you're a Giants fan and you're sitting there every Sunday or you're at the game and you're rooting against him, you're an asshole. Let's just be honest. But if you're sitting there and you're critically going, this guy isn't it because he makes turnovers or, fumbles a lot or he has happy feet, whatever it is. Even if you're like, maybe you're a QB guru and you're like, his footwork is terrible. Maybe that gets fixed. I don't know. But I as soon as they drafted him, I was frustrated because, again, older Giants fan here. I remember when they tried to replace Phil Simms with another number 17 from Duke named Dave Brown. So I was
funny
like,
how that worked out.
Isn't that crazy? Like I was just like, and then I was just like, this is such a classic Gettleman move. Let's go to the hotbed of Carolina football at Duke, not Duke basketball, Duke football, to find our franchise quarterback. Now, granted, Josh Allen did not play at a big time school. But Duke couldn't beat 1AA schools. They're terrible. So I never understood it. I hope he proves everyone wrong, including myself.
They beat Notre Dame with Daniel Jones. I am the Daniel Jones college fact.
Did they really beat Notre Dame?
Yeah, his freshman year.
Oh, wow. Did he play?
Yeah, he played. It wasn't even one of his best games. It wasn't even one of his best games. One of the games where if you look at the stats and the score and you're like, he didn't play, like, oh, if this guy's not good. Watch that Clemson game, man, and I came away so impressed with it. I was one of the people that actually kind of did like Jones out of college. Obviously, my feelings are different now after 3 years. But yeah, like you said, it's kind of hilarious that we've done the Duke QB number 17 twice now.
I'll just say one thing. I have a buddy who works for Learfield who does a lot of like pre and post for Duke football and basketball. And when they drafted Daniel Jones, he was like, "Oh, dude, he's going to change your franchise. Like you're so lucky to have him, et cetera, et cetera." So I was excited. I felt like, oh, I got some inside knowledge. Like this is a guy who I think people are really going to be excited about. But I don't know. He's hard to root for. And then when you hear him do interviews, like, God, man, he's so uncomfortable. I kind of feel bad. Like it's like if I was an NFL quarterback, and none of us are. But giving an interview is hard. Like, it's just not. It's just
they
not.
asked him,
anything that I've noticed with Jones is that anything that's like somewhat corny, he just hates. Like they're like when they try and make him do like the TikTok stuff. I remember after the draft, Matthew Berry's like any like weird tattoos someone on the team had. He's like, no, like he just anything like that. But then you hear stories about him not in front of the media and out like having a good time, and he's kind of like a normal dude and parties a little bit. It's just like when he gets in front of the camera, it might be his best skill is not answering questions. Like it just gives them nothing every single time.
Yeah, I don't want to see him like Baker Mayfield. I don't want to see fucking progressive commercials. I'm just just a little bit more person. I mean, God damn it, Eli was a kind of a goober at the beginning too. I don't know. It is what it is.
My favorite off the field Daniel Jones moment, and Bobby, I think you made some videos on this, is when he did cornhole with Sam Darnold.
And he's just like not even trying. He's just like Sam Darnold's like doing the whole thing. And Daniel Jones is just standing straight up and just swinging his arm like this. Like just couldn't. It's like, dude, the Johnsonville, bratwurst is sponsoring you. Like, give some effort. I know you don't care at all about this.
Do you know? Have you ever seen Stranger Things?
Yeah, I'm Hopper. I got you.
We have gotten. Did you guys have to pay Hopper to come on the show?
I used to have a bigger beard, so obviously, I was Hopper for Halloween 2 years ago. I did the mustache.
Oh yeah,
shaved the whole thing. I went to this before I worked at home. I went to work and I was got this like dirt stash, and people at work were like, "You look gross." Like it was just like. I look better with the beard to be Hopper. I've actually been approached multiple times at airports, even like a restaurant. Are you David Harbour? And I'm like, no, he's 6'5". Sorry.
Did you take pictures with those people? Because you could be like the fake Klay Thompson who snuck into the Warriors arena
next time
and just pose next to somebody like.
I'm flying to Boston in August. If I get that same request, I will definitely take a picture and post it.
There you go.
20 numbers in the random number generator. Still no winner yet.
Come on.
I know.
How long does this usually take? This sometimes can take you a while.
Well, I started doing Control-C, and it doesn't take as long anymore. But it's taking me like 20 tries.
Oh, of course.
So. Did you watch Stranger Things or no?
Oh, yes.
I just got into it 2 weeks ago, and I watched all the seasons.
It's awesome.
So I've watched it like if all my Stranger Things is like very fresh in the brain. Like I literally watched all 4 seasons in the past 2 weeks.
Huh? You have a lot of Stranger Things.
What are some other shows you guys watch or recommend? I like The Boys. We're all caught up on that.
Okay. Just making
sure. The Boys.
Let's see what shows.
Mayor of Easttown is the first one that comes to my head.
Have you watched all the Narcos?
I have not. I watched the first 2 seasons, I believe, and there's more than that, correct?
Well, they have the. So, did you watch one with Pablo Escobar?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The Mexico one's really good too. So I would watch the Mexico one. Still no winner here.
Wow.
Yeah, those are. I've watched the Narcos both twice.
You know what I'm watching right now? This would appeal to Giants fans. The Offer on Paramount Plus.
The Offer.
About the background and how the Godfather was made. Oh my God. It is fucking incredible.
Wow.
The shit that producer had to do to get that movie made is phenomenal. So if any Godfather fans out there.
Does Snacks know about this?
I mean, if he doesn't,
I've never heard Snacks even reference Godfather though. Is he even a Godfather fan?
I think he's huge, right?
He's a fraud. He's a fraud if he's not.
Yeah, if he doesn't like it, he can't comment on anything anymore.
No, he's definitely seen it. So.
We got a winner of the $2 raffle.
We have a winner.
Miguel Aguilar.
Miguel.
Now it's time for the $10 raffle, so wish me luck.
Good luck.
All right.
Congratulations to Miguel.
Congrats, Miguel.
If you're in here, you can claim it. Snacks is actually a what is this? What does this word mean? Is this a bad word to show? I don't know what this means.
Corleone. That's
there we go.
Godfather.
I thought that was an I.
He's not, first off, hey, Mark, you spelled it wrong. Mark with a C.
Yeah, I thought that was an I.
Yeah.
I don't have my glasses on. What's up with Micah McFadden? Talked about him.
Yeah, we talked about him at length, so we're not going to hit that one again.
Blitzer. Darian Beavers plays running downs. Micah McFadden. Well, Darian Beavers, not that he can't blitz. Micah McFadden, you're going to see him on passing downs. That's premise. Wrapped it up right there.
Bam.
Corleone.
Still wrong.
We have a Beavers over McFadden take. I love. Give me the takes of interior linebacker 3-4. It's
going to be a fun conversation. That's going to be one of the more fun conversations in preseason. Will be inside linebacker.
Yes, and camp. Seeing. I am so excited for camp this year.
You guys going to go? Do you guys go, or do you have like a remote?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going. We're going for every single one that they open to the public.
So Bob, I thought today would have been a great day to announce the training camp schedule that's available to the public. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted it today. But then Bobby dug up the tweets of it. What, June 25th and June 28th? or June 20th
and June 28th.
That's the last 2 times that they have had training camp open to the public. Those are the 2 dates that they've announced the dates that it is going to be open. So I am excited for either 5 days from now or 13 days from now.
Cool.
So whenever then we'll get all the things
You're gonna
situated.
Make it to
we'll
one
have the van
out of North Carolina.
I don't know, man. I don't think so. I'm planning on doing. I just got this great new job, so I definitely work from home, so that's a really good perk. And I'd like to get out to some Giants games, either home or away. We're in Nashville for a wedding, and of course the Giants are on bye. I was hoping that they'd play Tennessee that weekend, and that would have been cool. And like I said, my wife is a Cowboys fan, so we're going to have Thanksgiving of hatred this year. I'm super excited about cooking a dinner and then yelling at her and calling everyone on the Cowboys douchebags. It's going to be fun.
Every other year, I would hate having the Thanksgiving game, but my brother gets married the Saturday of Thanksgiving, so it works out perfectly for me.
There you go.
That's cool.
But every other year, like, could you imagine like being, talking Lions and every Thanksgiving sucks for you? Every Thanksgiving is just miserable.
Yeah.
You have to work every Thanksgiving, and it's not a fun day at work either because you're usually getting stomped with David Blau as your starting quarterback. Chase Daniels beating you. So, brutal. All right, so we're wrapping up. Mark, do you got anything else for us?
Just keep doing what you're doing, guys. Really appreciate it. If you ever want me to jump on, even not for a whole show, but if you want to, chop up on a specific topic, you let me know. Obviously, I love the Patreon aspect, so I can tell people, even if you can't afford the 100, like if you just want to do like a little bit at a time,
take a loan.
No, take a loan out because it's a macro loan, and the interest won't be bad. You only pay like $200 back. It's fine. But I think the cool part is like just the interaction, like the getting the alerts, like and that kind of stuff. Not that you don't get that at other things, but it's cool to just have that connection. You guys are good people. Want to help out any way I can. You're welcome. And to Mark, how to spell Corleone is Corleone. So work on that and get back to me. Thanks. But yeah, just like I'm excited about the upcoming season, and I look forward to you guys. And I love Giants Twitter as a whole. It's a fun place to be, even though we got a couple of knuckleheads, but we take care of it internally.
Yes,
we're like the Corleone
on a
family.
Show called Bleeding Blue.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do.
Snacks.
Yeah.
Hey, make sure that motherfucker has my money when the Yankees go like 10-1 in this stretch.
I'm gonna talk to him.
I'm gonna make sure of it.
I'm gonna see him in about like a half an hour, so I'm gonna
make
talk
sure
to
you
him.
tell him. Yep. And I told him, look, those are my clubs. When he comes out of North Carolina.
Wow, you want to know what's funny?
All right, get this guy off the stream.
We're going to Topgolf tonight, so I'm gonna actually see for myself if he can actually swing it or not.
Tell me how good he is, because he's talking shit like if he comes out of North Carolina, he could beat me in golf.
I'll take some videos. I've never seen a video of him swinging a golf club. I can imagine he stinks. Like every time he runs a 40-yard dash, he falls and he runs like he's a newborn deer. So,
Bobby, you're not a golf guy?
I like to make fun of like hardcore golf people. I actually enjoy going out and golfing, but I had one really bad experience with a golf course who just treated us like shit because we didn't like look the part. Like literally, I'll tell it as short as possible. We show up, we did the afternoon because it's a better deal in the afternoon. So there's no one behind us or anything, so we're not holding. But me and my brother were sharing clubs, so we didn't think nothing of it. They didn't know we were. Our cart runs out of electricity. The battery runs out on like the 10th hole. So I guess, someone, it's the afternoon, so they didn't fully charge it after whatever person used it. Literally push it back to the clubhouse. The clubhouse was between like 8 and 9 or 9 and 10 or whatever. But we pushed it back like a full hole. So I guess, 300 yards or whatever. Not the biggest deal for a couple of big guys like us. But it's still like, that kind of sucks. Yeah. And the first thing they say to us as we push it back is like, you can't be using the same set of clubs. I was like, how about like, I'm sorry for making you push back the cart. So then they started like following us around. They were just total assholes. I've only left a 1-star review one time in my entire life, and it was to that golf course. They made me so mad. And then I made golfers on Twitter really mad when I posted a video of me honking as I was driving by.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And people were actually like, you're a bad person for this. It's like, we're like one of my favorite ones was like, this is not a funny thing to do. Sometimes guys are playing for a lot of money on these holes, like they're
like $5.
Holes. And it's like, that's why it's not funny, is because some rich assholes might lose $100. It's like, you know what they could do? Drop the ball and like, hey, you know what? I get another free shot because that asshole, like, yeah. So anyways, which I was actually thinking maybe on one of the off days in training camp, me and Justin could go golf with a cameraman or something.
Oh, great.
Absolutely. No, it's a great idea. No, listen, this is the first set of real golf clubs I've ever bought, because I've always had the pride of, whether it's golfing or anything that's the equipment, I just go and like have the shittiest clubs and beat people that have great clubs, because it's fun that way.
I can swing a club pretty decent. I have a bag of clubs that I bought at a garage sale, and it literally has like flames on the bag.
Love it.
For $5. But I've also realized I'm a much better golfer when I'm mad, because when they were following us around, making like being assholes to us, I mean, I just started driving that damn thing, because I don't golf. I golf like once every 2-3 years. So the first 3 holes, I'm slicing it right every single time.
I want to subscribe to that show. I want to see you two go out with a cameraman. Let's get out there, and I want to see it.
Let's do it.
They say like, the better you get is when you realize you don't have to swing as hard as you can. Fuck that. I'm swinging as hard as I can every single.
And if you guys ever do come back down to North Carolina, I don't care if it's Charlotte, wherever, let's set that up. We'll go play some golf somewhere. Video Sounds it, good. Whatever you want to do. It'll be hysterical.
Mark, we appreciate you. I'm glad you're a normal person. I was a little worried, we're going on with a stranger. This guy might be just an absolute psycho and start hitting us with hot political takes, and we got to be nice.
Yep.
But ended up working out, Mark. We appreciate you, and listeners, we appreciate you guys, and whoever listened on Twitch, an extra thank you. So, all right, we'll see you guys for the Friday podcast. Until then, let's go Big Blue.